What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDontWorkHereLady. Alright, this story's called, I'll Try to Lawyer If You Insist. So this happened in 2015, just a few months after my husband had suddenly passed away. He passed in November of 2014. At the time, I was a bartender and had a small chicken farm. So I worked nights, and during the day, I would tend to my little hobby farm. I say little, I actually had over 50 chickens. This will be important later on in the story. At the time, I had my cell number since about 2011, so about 4 years before I started receiving these calls. Every time an unfamiliar number would come up on my caller ID, it would be a call from someone who was trying to reach a local legal aid attorney or court-appointed lawyer. I would explain that they had the wrong number, and most people would apologize and let it go. Sometimes they would turn around and call right back, and again, I would tell them, I'm sorry, but you have the wrong number. I am not your attorney. Most of the time, I would let it go to voicemail and not bother with it, unless they kept calling, and then I would let them know they had the wrong number. Again, most people were fine and polite with it, but this one time, crazy lady will be crazy lady that needs an attorney. Imagine that. Attorney is attorney, me is me, and judge is the judge. Crazy lady had called several times, leaving a voicemail every time, and each and every voicemail was almost impossible to understand. About all I could understand was that she was trying to reach an attorney, and she was becoming increasingly agitated that said attorney was not answering or returning her calls. Eventually, the voicemails became screaming rants with a lot of cursing. Remarkably, I could understand the curse words. Finally, I answer the call. Thinking that I would explain to her that she had the wrong number, and then maybe, just maybe, she would quit calling me every day to leave nasty voicemails. Nope! Hello? This is whatever her name was. And I have been calling you for weeks now! Not true. And you've been ignoring me! Ma'am, I'm sorry, but you have the wrong number. And I hang up. She called right back. Again, I explained to her that she has the wrong number, and she begins to curse and tell me that she knows she has the right number. Click. I hang up again. And wonder of all wonders, the nutjob calls again. You better not hang up on me again, you bimbo! I know you work for attorney and you are not giving him my messages! Ma'am, I don't know that attorney and you have the wrong number. Please stop calling me. Click. I hang up again. She calls back again. I didn't realize telling someone they had the wrong number for the umpteenth time was so complicated to understand. Guess I was wrong. And she calls again. I have caught! It was either the next day or a couple of days after. It's been years, so I don't remember. Anyway, she has court coming up, and if said attorney doesn't show up for court, she's gonna tell the judge that the attorney took her money and have the judge to call me in court, and I'm going to jail. Okay, nutjob. Whatever. I knew when the number came up on my caller ID that it was a number from the part of the county where the courthouses, etc., were located, so I answered. May I speak with attorney? Sir, you have the wrong number. I'm not playing games with you, girl. This is Judge blank, and I better get the attorney there within a few hours. It was late morning, and the lawyer needed to be there by after lunch. Your Honor, I have repeatedly told this lady she has the wrong number. I am not an attorney. In fact, I am a bartender at the local honky-tonk, and I am a hobby chicken farmer. I am not an attorney. Please understand, during this, there are several roosters in my yard, ducks, and guinea fowl. Roosters are having crowing contests, and all the animals are pretty rowdy. It is spring after all. So I continue to explain to the judge that I am not a lawyer, and I am up to my elbows in chicken crap cleaning out the coop, which we had been using a deep bed method during the winter, and since it was getting warmer, didn't need to keep that much bedding, and well, it stunk. For the record, every time she called and I answered, you could either hear chickens in the background or extremely loud music from the bar where I worked. I continued to explain to him that I am sure that I stink pretty bad, and that I didn't know anything about being a lawyer. But I had pretty good knowledge of raising chickens and making drinks. I continued to tell him that I could probably make it there after lunch, but that I really needed to finish cleaning out my coops and would then need to take a shower and get dressed. But if he really needed me to come be a lawyer, I would certainly try. I remember telling him, I guess I could be a lawyer if I tried, and that I had done pretty good helping my attorney during my divorce a few years before. I did not even give him time to respond until I said what I had to say.
I don't think that will be necessary, ma'am. I apologize for wasting your time.
Do you think you could tell this lady to stop calling me several times a day, because I am tired of being yelled at and cursed out for not being her attorney? I explained to him that she had threatened me and harassed me and that I was really tired of it. He assured me he would take care of it. Never heard from Crazy Lady again and would have completely forgotten this until I had a voicemail from someone looking for an attorney. I did later find out from an acquaintance that is an attorney that I do indeed have the number that previously belonged to a defense attorney. She figured it out when she was programming my phone number in her phone for totally unrelated business. That's funny. You know what I like to do? Anytime I get a scam call or something, I try so hard to go along with it, even throwing on a panicky voice, and it's always fun. But I applaud OP here for, trolling the judge. Not even trolling, but you get what I'm saying. Alright, this story's called, What About Me Makes You Think I Work Here? For note, it's Brovid time, so people are obligated to wear masks and all the social distancing rules are well in effect. About me. I'm in my 40s, I have a day job as an executive in the software field, and a volunteer job as a Taekwondo instructor at the school, where my kids and I have taken or are taking Taekwondo. Not to mention, I am an ex-US Army soldier that is built like a brick crap house. Okay, for the story, here's the cast. It's me, Karen, Karen's child, Chuck, happy-go-lucky older store employee. Seriously, this guy's in his 60s to 70s and always tries to make everyone feel good when going through his register. And last but not least, Bob, an employee under me at my day job, as in he directly reports to me. This happened last night. I had a full day of work and took my last meeting for my day job in the car while heading to Taekwondo, as the first class I'm instructing is at 5:10. I'm normally done with my day job at about 4:30 p.m., but someone called a 4:30 meeting at work. I normally have some time to chat with my wife before leaving to see if she needs me to stop at the grocery store and pick anything up before heading back home, as the grocery store is in the same shopping complex as the Taekwondo studio. I get through teaching a couple of Taekwondo classes and decide that I was gonna head to the grocery store for ibuprofen as my knee was a bit sore. Remember, ex-football player plus ex-soldier plus over 40 equals bad knees. Now, I just finished a few classes. I'm a bit sweaty and I'm wearing a Taekwondo uniform. All the white pajama-looking things with the Taekwondo school name in red and white and blue on the back and patches on the front and shoulders. I'm also wearing a black belt that has my name and the name of the Taekwondo school on it. As I cross the threshold of the store with my phone and wallet in my hands, my phone is in my right hand and my wallet in my left, as there are no pockets in the Taekwondo uniform. I try single-hand texting with my wife to see if she needed anything while I was there. I mused at how used to texting I was using both thumbs. I was in a good mood. I see Chuck about 10 paces into the store, restocking a display or something, keeping one eye on my phone as I'm still texting the first message. I walk toward him and say something along the lines of, "How's it going tonight, Chuck?" To which he asked how my classes went and replied joking about teaching the kids being hard on me and needing ibuprofen. During the exchange, I was able to send off my text asking my wife if she needed anything. To me, it was a nice greeting as I saw Chuck once, sometimes twice a week after my Taekwondo classes. But for Karen, it must have meant something more. As I walked, with a slight limp, down the aisle towards my favorite anti-inflammatory, I heard that telltale, "Excuse me!" I turn and a few paces behind me, maybe 6 to 7 feet, is Karen, A well-to-do, probably never worked a day in her life's 30-something, dragging a kid, possibly her son, who's about 7 to 8 years old. My first thought was that they wanted information on Taekwondo, or the kid had questions about my uniform, as these things happen pretty often. But no. If that were the case, I wouldn't be telling my story in this sub, would I? The interaction went like this. Where is the tofu blah blah blah? Really, I still have no idea what the obscure tofu thing she was asking for was, or where it would be in the store. Trying to be nice, I reply, I'm sorry, I don't work here, but Chuck is just down at the end of the aisle and he should be able to. Karen cuts me off. I asked you, not that crazy old man. I swear, Karen's child could make out my whatever expression through my U.S. Army veteran mask, and he started pulling his mother back down the aisle towards Chuck, who is only about 15 feet behind them, saying something along the lines of, Mom, let's go to the funny guy. I assume it is all over and turn my back on Karen and Karen's child, and might have taken 2 steps. This is when Karen grabs my upper arm in a move that I guess she thought would turn me around and towards her, and yells, Don't! She was cut short by me flicking her hand off my arm, similar to a horse flicking its tail at a fly, and making her stumble back. As she's stumbling backwards, I see Chuck heading down the aisle, and he more than likely heard the first exchange. Karen goes off on a tirade. Who do you think you are? How dare you touch me? And all of this other stuff. But I was tuning her out, so I didn't catch it all. Chuck, God bless him, enters the situation as cheery as ever.
So how are we all doing this evening?
And at this point, I am completely ignoring Karen and start to reply to Chuck with an equally cheery, it's just another Monday. When Karen cuts me off and tells Chuck how this employee assaulted her and how I shouldn't be allowed near customers. My whatever look came back in full force. I even took a step back and looked down at my Taekwondo uniform. As I looked back at Chuck, he was literally scratching his head. I think looking to the correct words or recounting what he had witnessed and heard. Chuck, with a tone I never heard from him, looked Karen straight in the face and said,
Nope, not what I saw. You called me old and then grabbed him as he was walking away from you. As you can see, his hands are full.
Gesturing to my phone and wallet still in each hand.
And he didn't lay a finger on you.
Karen's tirade then went on full attack towards Chuck. You stupid old man! How dare you! Do you know who I am? You can't treat me this way! I start tuning her out again when I saw another person that I recognized walk around the end of the aisle towards us. Bob enters the scene, and just about the time I was about to say hi, Karen's child turns and looks at Bob and yells, Daddy! This immediately stopped Karen's tirade, and then she went into, I kid you not, real tears and started telling Bob how I assaulted her and how Chuck is taking my side and not hers. Bob, looking very uncomfortable, looks at me and states in a motionless, almost defeated sounded, I'm sorry, OP. Lo and behold, Karen stopped crying, stopped talking altogether, and just stared at Bob. There was a strange, quiet moment. It felt like a minute, but was probably about 8 to 10 seconds.
Karen, this is my boss, OP, from company name.
Karen just stood there staring, and to break another long silence, I turned to Chuck and said, Do you know where tofu blah 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 is? The mood relaxed in an instant, and almost everyone took an exasperated breath. I then asked Karen, What about me, gesturing to my uniform, makes you think that I work here, gesturing to the shelves on the aisle? To this, Karen just dropped her gaze, and Chuck offered to escort her to the tofu item that she was looking for. Bob again apologized to me, and just about that time, my hand buzzed with my wife's response to my question of if she needed anything from the grocery store. And her single-word answer summed up the entire encounter. Alcohol. It's now Tuesday, the next day, and I had just talked to Bob about this. He again apologized and told me he had no idea why she had acted that way. And
she's not normally like that.
I said, no worries, but then stated quite bluntly that he should keep an eye on her, as this situation could have played out much worse. And I started telling him about this subreddit. Hopefully some reading might give him some insight into his wife's actions and the possible consequences. Can you imagine that situation? Poor Bob. Oh, people. Man, why do people get like that, man? Just, like, I get it. Being a stay-at-home mom, it's not necessarily, like, an easy job to have, okay? Because, like, you know, if you have a job, you come home, your job's done, you can chill, okay? But, you know, when your job is at home, you're constantly working. I mean, not constantly, but you're always on the clock. But when there's not anything to do while on that clock, well, you get people like this. This story's called, No, I Don't Have Your Change and Stop Yelling at Me! My friends run an underground rave venue where, quite frankly, nothing is ever organized business-wise. There's always a lot of promises on the flyers about a barbecue outside and an award for best dressed. It never happens, not even the barbecue, but it's the kind of crowd that are getting their kicks from other things, substances, and are too rad-ass to give a damn. So I go to this one rave, which my friends are holding in a new place, so there's a big hype and it's packed. I get there and go behind the bar to my friend. As soon as I get to him, I can tell he's off his nut. He hugs me and says he'll be back soon. There's now people across the bar demanding drinks, demanding change, demanding their order that hasn't been served. They are all pretty pissed to see me behind the bar just standing there. I tell them I don't work on the bar. Even if I wanted to serve you, I don't know where the change box is, nor do I have a key to it. It gets so bad, a man leans over, grabs a bottle, and runs. At this point, I start drinking. Crap you not, the man didn't come back for 2 hours. No one was my friend that night. But it was okay. I had a free bar. What a nice friend. What a nice friend to have left you in that situation. It makes me think of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia whenever they do anything. And it gets busy at the bar, and, like, they're just in this frantic panic. Because, like, there's this one episode specifically where Charlie has to man the bar because, like, all the other gang is trying to freaking copycat this other bar that they were trying to... Now, anyway, that's irrelevant. But he starts freaking out. He's, like, asking this guy... he's, like, freaking dipping the cups in bleach so he doesn't have to clean them. And so they're like, my drink tastes like bleach. And it's like, because I dipped him in bleach, because... you get the point. It's a good show.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.